All right, so this is going to be the most difficult cut out of the whole tub surround, is right at this window. Let's get our spacers in here so that we can make sure that these stay where we need them to be. Okay, yeah, the laser looks good. It's always good to double check that. And so we want to put this right on laser here. Okay, and then let's go ahead. Well, we can honestly just measure down to the windowsill. So make sure that this is aligned well. All right, so what I would recommend, now you can see here, I'm gonna probably have 3 7/8, and this is 3 1/4. So our window is not exactly 100% even. There's really not a whole heck of a lot we're gonna be able to do about it. But we could bring this over and overhang this window slightly to kind of offset that a little bit. You have some more, a little bit more reveal on this side than this side. So we do have a little bit of fudge room. So let's just go ahead and make this side. So we'll go 3 1/2 for our cut. On this side, we want to overhang just a little, I mean, just a hair, like a 16th. So we're going to go 3 7/8. So we're basically going to be 3/8 inch bigger on this side than the other. Really not much you're going to be able to do about that. And then measuring down, so right now we have a 4 7/16 is really what we have. So if we just made this 4 1/8, that's going to overhang that. And you can see all the windowsill here. We have plenty of room here to be able to grow this up. So it definitely gives us a lot of flexibility. So we're going to cut this down 4 1/8. And that's going to allow this piece to be above that sill about a good 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch. So this is what we're going to have to cut, is this L notch. This is going to be the most complicated, or the U notch I should say. This is going to be the most complicated cut that we're going to be doing today. Let's go ahead and use our square. Mark this with pencil. Okay, then we were going to go 4 1/8. So make sure we have those cross tees. This is the tricky part. So this is where you're going to want to have a good grinder to be able to cut this. Because really, with this type of saw, there's really no other way. Now when you have a saw like the DeWalt, you can plunge cut down into this. But that's where buying a good blade like this Montolit CGX blade is really going to be worth the expense to be able to do this. So we're just going to basically cut that line straight down, and hopefully we get a nice straight cut. Yeah, I can live with that. Let's see what that looks like with the edging. Just hold on a sec. Just sand this up a little bit. Okay, so the only way you're going to be able to tell whether this is going to look good is just to use your Schluter edging. I'm pretty happy with that. Looks pretty good. So this is the most complicated cut. That means you can get everything else done. So really 3 things that you really want to have on a project like this. 1, the wet saw. So this little tiny saw here. And then a sanding pad and a good grinder blade. You could pretty much do anything with that. It just might take a little bit more time and a little bit of precision with your hand with grinding, but you can do it. Ceramic towel is really forgiving and easy to cut. It's about even there, so when I put this on here, it's going to overcome the edge here. So we got a good 1/2 inch, plenty of room. This side, same thing. Actually, we have a little bit more room because we're bringing that over a little bit. So we have about almost 11/16 is basically what I have over here. So just about 3/4 of an inch. But that's going to work out perfectly. So just as long as you're about even with the edge of here, that's going to be sufficient. Once you get the Schluter edging on, bumps you out. And we have plenty of room here. We have a good 1/4 inch. So once I put this down on the bottom, I have 3/4 of an inch at the bottom. Plenty of room to be able to make that bottom sill meet up with this. So the idea is to get all the wall tile up first, and then we'll work on finishing around the window. Okay, just use this as a guide. Keep that where everything's nice and even. Looks good. One thing about these saws that are pretty difficult, especially when you're trying to do a smaller piece like this, is to prevent from having like a little chip right at the end. So you really have to take your time when you're running this through this saw. So that's one thing about this tabletop that's going to be tough, and that's acceptable. I mean, it's almost a very slight offcut, but you just have to take it really slow at the end if you're trying to make this a nice even cut. All right, so I think what we'll do is we'll get our side pieces up here so that we have a good ability to get our border right where we want it. So we'll basically, right about there. So we'll make two side legs, 35. Should be enough. We'll allow this just to hang down slightly here so that we have plenty enough room. So, yeah. Okay, so this, I've really, I used to use this right up against the fence. It used to be kind of blow up on me, and it was really kind of dangerous. Thankfully, Cali Dad, Talbro made this really awesome plastic device that holds your Schluter edge into the piece. So you can use this on the wet saw, or you can use this on a regular trim saw. So I'm going to cut my angle that I need to be right here. That is a much, much safer apparatus to hold this into place. Thanks, Talbro. So since this is going to be our outside edge, we need to be coming this way. Let's go ahead and cut a straight cut first. Yep. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now we got that set. We're gonna get some thin set behind her just to make sure that these stay set in there. So if you're gonna wait till the next day to do this, I would definitely make sure it's cleared behind her so you don't have any problems meeting the tile to this. This out to meet the tile, do that. So we're gonna use some of these horseshoe shims to make sure that this stays even. You can really just kind of hold it there till the thin set dries too. You don't have to necessarily push them all the way in. Just make sure everything's nice and even. You're gonna be just grouting straight up against this edging. So it looks all pretty good. Now we have a defined space to butt our border up to, and then we'll do this piece once we get the tile at that level. Okay, so for the glass, we have way more than we need. Originally I was intending to put this all the way across the top, but it just wasn't going to look right, so we're just going to be cutting a couple 20-inch pieces out of it. Again, a good blade really makes a difference, so we're going to cut this and cut it to length. That's really not a nice cut. We're going to go ahead and make this longer than what we need, so then this can be in the corner and you won't see it. So we needed 21 3/8, so we'll just make it 24, and we'll cut it on the wet side, because this is just not going to cut well. Glass is pretty tough. That'll work. It's not bad. It'll do. So this definitely makes it nice. Put it on the Schluter Curdy band the night before, and now I can build up my border to meet my tile layer. I can add as much thinness as I want behind here, just like a regular piece of tile. Where's the fat on at the bottom? So now that could be nice and even with my tile with no difficulty. Let me just space this whole unit up. Just like that. It sure does make it easy. And then when you go to put the next tile on top of there, nothing's squeezing, nothing's moving. It's just like a solid piece of tile. So let's go ahead and do the other side. All right, so that was the complicated part of the project. The rest of it's going to seem very easy comparatively. But yeah, there's a lot of cuts, and it's just a matter of being patient and just doing the best that you can. Just know that, you know, grout usually doesn't hide anything. So if you have a chip somewhere, it's not going to hide it. It's hopeful thinking, but you're better off just to cut another piece when you see a problem. But the Schluter edging, it's definitely something that takes a little bit of patience, because everything has to be perfectly cut along here. You can basically see every imperfection if it's you know, kind of tapered out the corner or anything like that. So, you know, that's one thing you might consider, is doing a different type of edging for your window where it's a little bit more forgiving. You know, you can use like a pencil trim, even bullnose. If there was a bullnose tile that you can use, that would be more forgiving. But you know, the Schluter edging is probably the most economic way, and it's going to look pretty slick once we get it, once it's all put together. So we'll stop here for today, and then tomorrow we'll do the sidewalls here.